Today's meditation by Scott Stoner is entitled Grace in the Midst of Grief and Loss, and it begins with a quote, this time from Henri Nouwen. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, that is a friend who cares. And Scott Stoner writes, I once offered a series at a church called Grace and Resilience in the Midst of Grief, and was asked to write a description of the series for the church's newsletter. I wrote that this series was only for those who had ever, had recently, were currently, or knew that they would be soon experiencing some sort of loss or change. In other words, I said, this series is for everyone. As many of us know, the weight of grief can be overwhelming. As we read in the Gospel reading for last Sunday, Mary and Martha were devastated by grief of the death of their brother Lazarus. In its initial stages, grief can literally take our breath away. One way we can practice grace in the midst of grief is to be gentle and patient with ourselves as we begin to heal. The world will not necessarily know to extend grace to us when we are grieving, and so it is essential that we extend it to ourselves. Even if we are not currently experiencing grief ourselves, we likely know someone who is grieving. Most people suffering grief report how alone they feel when, after the first month or two, others stop talking with them about their loss. One way we can extend grace to others is to have the courage to continue to be with and to speak with them about their loss, showing them that we are comfortable with their vulnerability, even if it simply means sitting with them in their silence or tears. To offer this grace is to be the friend who cares that Henri Nouwen talked about. We can make it personal. How natural is it for you to extend grace to yourself when you are experiencing grief? Can you think of a time when someone embodied grace by being the kind of friend for you that Henri Nouwen describes? Who in your life now could benefit from being that kind of friend? There are many kinds of grief, but they all involve some kind of loss. The loss of someone we love, the loss of a job, a home, the empty nest after our children have gone off on their own, the loss perhaps of confidence or hope or even faith. Can you recall a time when you spent with someone who was grieving? Can you remember how you felt during that time? Perhaps you felt awkward, or helpless, or ineffectual. Why do we find it so hard to deal with grief? Part of it has to do, I think, with our wanting to fix things, to heal things, to explain things. We just want things to be all right again, all right for ourselves and perhaps especially for those we care about. And so we search for the right words, and when they don't easily come, we feel we've failed. But that's exactly when real healing can begin. When we know we can't always fix or heal things, can't always explain things, that's when we become vulnerable enough ourselves to just be there to share the pain, the helplessness, and the lostness, so that eventually we can also share the hope and the promise of God's grace, of God's limitless love. God bless you and keep you safe during the rest of your Lenten pilgrimage and bring you with joy to the Easter feast. And remember that you are always loved.